Have you ever looked at a man's face and said to yourself, "This can't be fatal"? Have you ever seen someone in an elegant suit with a charming smile and a calm tone of voice? Then I later discovered that he was a ruthless criminal? Imagine the killer among us, walking the streets, smiling at children, helping women carry their things, studying law, and aspiring to one day become a prominent politician, while he is in secret a predatory wolf, lurking his prey in the dark, hiding a monster that lives under his soft skin. In this story, we will dive together into the depths of one of the ugliest stories known to humanity, the story of a man who excelled at deceiving even the police, sparked media madness, and attracted women to him even though he was a heartless serial killer. A man who was not just a serial killer, but a psychological dilemma, a terrifying experience that revealed the dark face of the human soul. Yes, today we're talking about Ted Bundy, the man who shook America, leaving behind dozens of unknown graves and a cold smile that never left him even as he was led to the electric chair. This is no ordinary crime story. Rather, it is the story of a monster who wore the mask of an angel. Prepare to hear dark details, horrific confessions, a dramatic escape from justice, and finally, justice that did not come easily. Theodore Robert Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont, to an unmarried teenage girl named Ellen Cowell. His upbringing was turbulent, as he was raised in his grandparents' house and was told that his mother was his sister and that his grandfather was his father. He did not discover the truth until later years, which left a deep psychological impact on him. As a child, Bundy was intelligent and introverted, but showed strange tendencies, such as spying on women and stealing small items. Over time, he began to show great social charm, which later helped him hide his true face. Youth and university. He attended the University of Washington and studied psychology, where he met a girl known by the pseudonym Stephanie Brooks. She was beautiful and from a high social class, but he did not live up to her, so she separated from him, which greatly affected him. Years later, he rebuilt himself and successfully entered politics, even working with the Republican Party and participating in political campaigns. Then he returned to contact Stephanie, and after she fell in love with him again, he suddenly left her, as if he was taking revenge on her. The beginning of crimes. The killings began in the early 1970s. Most of his victims were young women, college students, brunettes, with characteristics similar to his ex-girlfriend. He lured them by claiming he was injured or needed help, using a splint or crutch, and when they trusted him, he would kidnap them in his car, later killing them. He often beat them first, then strangled or stabbed them, and in some cases would return to body sites to engage in sick acts with the corpse, and even kept some heads as souvenirs. West Coast horror. In 1974, women began disappearing in states such as Washington, Oregon, Utah, and Colorado. There was no trace, except reports of a handsome man with an injured arm driving a Volkswagen Beetle. The police began chasing him under the name Ted, but they did not have enough evidence. He was first arrested in 1975, but the charges were not proven, so he was released. He then escaped from prison twice, and on his second escape, he went to Florida, where he committed one of his most horrific crimes. Female student house massacre. In January 1978, he broke into a Florida State University student house in Tallahassee, where he attacked 4 women while they were sleeping, killing 2 and horribly wounding the others with a log and knife. Weeks later, he kidnapped, raped, and murdered a 12-year-old girl named Kimberly Leach. Arrest and trial. He was finally arrested in February 1978, and this time he did not escape. During the trial, he insisted on representing himself, and his image as a handsome, educated man appeared in the media, to the point that many women fell in love with him despite the ugliness of his crimes. But the evidence was overwhelming, especially traces of teeth that matched the body of one of the victims. He was sentenced to death 3 times and remained in prison for years, during which time he married one of his admirers and had a daughter with her, despite being in prison. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in the electric chair at a Florida state prison. He was 42 years old at the time. Hundreds gathered outside the prison, chanting and celebrating his death. The terrifying legacy. Bundy admitted to killing more than 30 women, but the real number is believed to be higher. His story has inspired many books, films, and series. He represented a rare type of killer, attractive, intelligent, unquestionable, but a monster inside. And so, one of the scariest stories in modern history has been turned. Ted Bundy, the man who stunned investigators, deceived the media, and manipulated the minds of those around him, finally ended up with a well-deserved ending, but after turning the lives of dozens of families into an eternal tragedy. Maybe his real crime wasn't just murder, rather, in his ability to hide evil behind a gentle face. He breaks the image of the stereotypical killer in people's minds and proves that a monster can wear a tie, speak confidently, and make others laugh before sticking his knife in their backs. Bundy left behind questions that remain open. How many real victims? Was he born evil, or was society created by him? Could this pattern be repeated again somewhere, in someone we think couldn't hurt a fly? Ted Bundy's story should not be forgotten, not because it is a thriller and horror story, but because it is a wake-up call. It reminds us to be careful, not to be deceived by appearances, and to believe that inside every human being there are shadows that we do not see. We may never know all of Ted Bundy's secrets, but what is certain is that the monster that inhabited him did not die with him, but rather lives among us in new images, just waiting for the right moment to emerge from the shadows.
Thank you for following this terrifying journey into the mind of the most mysterious serial killer in history. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share the story if you find the story useful or interesting. See you in a new story and a new case, elsewhere in this world where the truth often stranger than fiction.